I'm not Democrat. I'm not libertarian. I'm a human being that wants the best for the rest of the human.
Hey, everybody. This is Matt with the Clip Farm. Stumbled across an interesting video here a friend of mine sent to me. And I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on it. So here, let me give you a little look.
And here are the first 15 promises he has made if he is reelected. You may have heard of Project 2025, but this is from Agenda 47, and you can read all of these on his website. First, he promises that he will carry out the largest domestic deportation operation in history.
Get out.
He will also...
Largest domestic deportation. Well, since we've had the most illegal immigration in the last 3 years, that sounds like a good idea to me. Next.
Ask for the death sentence for anyone convicted of human trafficking. He will close the Department of Education and return all education standards to the states to decide.
Death sentences for human traffickers sound like a really good idea to me. I'm not understanding why this individual is not happy with that. Education standards back to the states. That's how it's supposed to be, I thought. But anyway, next.
He will put prayer back into school, and he will criminalize any race-based advantage programs.
Prayer in school sounds like a good idea to me. I know it's not for everybody. Hey, I'm personally not a Christian myself, but the values that something like that instills are always good. Getting rid of race-based advantage programs, also a good idea. Why should any one race, especially today, have an advantage over the others?
He will end the Affordable Care Act. He will ban...
I mean, there are a few good points in the ACA, but generally, I think it's been a huge boondoggle and waste of money. So, again, sounds good to me.
And gender-affirming care for adults and children, and he will ban any federal dollars from going towards gender-affirming care.
I just, again, I don't see what's wrong with that. I don't see why I don't see why 99.5% of the United States should be paying for the delusions of 0.5% of the population.
Which means anyone with government-provided health care will no longer be able to access gender-affirming care except for Viagra and Cialis. Those will still be available.
Yeah, boy.
I think we could skip the Viagra and Cialis as well, but y'all want that stuff? Y'all need that stuff? Go buy that stuff. Don't think it needs to be a public thing. Yeah.
He will propose a constitutional amendment that gives a term limit to Congress. He will deploy...
So far, this girl is making individual is making a really strong case for Trump. Let's see what else.
Deploy the Department of Justice to investigate the Biden crime family and any of his adversaries or political rivals.
Let's go, Brandon. I agree.
He will immediately...
Oh, well, at this point, I think that needs to happen. I know there's a lot of you, especially on the liberal side of the aisle, who are going to disagree with that, but 10% for the big guy. That's all I got to say.
Immediately pardon all of the January 6thers, and he will create a task force to investigate anyone who arrested, charged, or imprisoned a January 6er. He will increase the penalties for underage criminal offenders, strengthen immunity.
I'm all for pardoning the January 6ers, because if that was an insurrection, then what are all these other invasions that the liberals have been pulling literally almost on a weekly basis, either in the country's capital or various state capitals? Two-tier justice just does not work for me. Increase penalties for underage criminal offenders and
for police officers, and deploy the National Guard to patrol woke cities. On day
again, I don't see a problem with this. especially with the defund the police movement that has left a lot of cities literally hanging out to dry. Their citizens can't even call. In some of these cities, the police won't respond for anything short of, oh, somebody's trying to kill me. So, sounds like a good idea.
Day one, he will reassess our participation in NATO and says that every European country needs to pay the United States for protection.
Being is that we fund, I don't recall how much of NATO it is, but we fund, the United States funds the vast majority of NATO. Reassessing that agreement, especially when NATO usually votes against anything the United States puts forward, sounds like a pretty good idea to me. Paying for the United States for our protection, that I'm not too, I don't know about that. I'd have to look into that a little more and see what that entails.
He will also restore the wonderful travel ban for Muslims coming to America. He will build freedom.
There never was a Muslim ban. There was a terrorist ban. Thanks for the disinformation, lady, but try again. Bye.
Cities. This is 10 new cities built on federal land. He will award them to areas with the best development proposals, and he will prioritize moving young families to these freedom cities.
Okay, I've read Agenda 47 just prior to viewing this, actually, because that was something I had not heard and did not recall in the reading. I don't know where she's getting this 10 new cities and moving young people into these freedom cities, as she calls them. But I'm going to have to call bullshit on that. Again, nice try with the propaganda there, buddy, but let's try to keep it real, please.
You son of a bitch! I mean,
He will kill all e-vehicles and e-vehicle legislation, seeking to replace that with the development of a flying car. He believes that we could create a car that vertically takes off. He will
Okay, well, I know it's an unpopular opinion these days, but your EV sucks. They 300-mile range, especially for an individual that lives out in like flyover country. Yeah, it's like 100 miles to the nearest grocery store for me. And generally, especially this time of year, the temperatures are well below freezing. And as we saw in Chicago and other places, the EVs and their chargers don't do so well when it gets so cold. Just saying.
remove all of the limits on American natural gas.
Oh, apologies. The flying car. She acts like that's a new thing. There's actually one that's already been approved in Japan as a taxi.
Exports and drill baby drill for oil domestically. He will
Let me see. Drill, baby, drill. That would mean we would become energy independent, relying on our own oils. Yes, it would take a few years to get back into the swing of things, but good idea. And my God, think of the jobs that would actually stimulate the economy because of the jobs that it would create doing that. Yeah. This girl's doing a great job on the freaking campaign ad. I'm just saying.
will impose a tariff of up to 60% on Chinese imports. He will extend the 2017 tax cuts and drop the corporate tax rate from 21% to 15%.
Okay, China needs to have a tariff or something imposed on them because they've been abusing the hell out of the current trade agreements for most of my lifetime, and I'm not a young man anymore, as you can see. Dropping the corporate tax rate from 21 to 15% to me sounds like a great idea, simply because, again, that will spur growth in the economy. That will create jobs. Big corporations will have the extra money to actually expand their businesses or create new products or do research and development or any number of things. So good job, lady.
He will push Congress to pass legislation that would give every American the right to concealed carry anywhere at any time, and he will revoke any gun restrictions or legislation that seeks to inhibit people's ability to own guns that's been passed in the last several years.
Again, this is not a bad thing. There's something called constitutional carry. If you believe in the Second Amendment and the way it was written, every American citizen should have the right and ability to carry openly without any form of a license, should they so choose. You go back to the Wild West. Pretty much everybody was running around with a gun. They didn't give a damn what state line or even international border they crossed. They were packing. Sounds like a good idea to me.
He will demand that Europe pay back all the money we gave Ukraine, and then he will use all of that money to recruit for the American military. And he will take billions and billions of dollars from private university endowments by taxing, fining, and suing the universities. He specifically names Harvard in this one. And
again, I can find no fault with any of this. I don't know that the U.S. military would need all of the Ukrainian money to bolster its ranks, but they could sure use some of it. That's for especially with recruitment so far down these days. Suing the universities, that's long overdue. I'm sorry, the universities have been preaching propaganda and misinformation for at least the last 15 to 20 years, probably a lot longer.
And then he will use that money to create the American Academy. It is a free online college that will be free of wokeness that he will force employers to recognize as a bachelor's degree equivalent.
So Biden wants to pay off people's student debt loans, which is illegal and he can't do, but he's tried to do it anyway to bribe votes. Sorry, YouTube, if you don't like that one, but it's true. And create a college that would be free for everyone. I don't know about y'all, but doesn't that sound like a good idea? Just saying. Just, yeah.
So that's Agenda 47.
Well, I'm not sure what the individual was trying to do there. She obviously was trying to destroy Trump, or in her own mind, I guess. But I don't know about y'all. That sounded like a pretty good campaign ad for Mr. Trump. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Matt with the Clip Farm. Hope you like this. Have a good one, everybody.